Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first Div4A recap. I am your host, Synergy. This is the Cynical Energy channel, and I have here with me today Tomo and G'day Nick. How are you two doing?
Bro?
Yeah, I'm doing quite well. Tomo, how about yourself?
Yeah, I'm good too. Thank you.
Okay, so this is the first review recap for Div4A. So what we'll do is we'll go a little bit in depth into each of the teams and introduce the teams and see how they went in the Greenhorn, see how any of their players are getting along, and then what we'll do, we'll talk about their game last week, and then we'll click over to check out the schedule for this week and make some predictions, shall we?
Sounds good.
Okay, let's get right into it with the first team. Nobody Loves the Monkeys, coached by Grim Matter. Looks like it's a human team here, and they've got a team value of 1,050. They've got an ogre and 3 blitzers left. They may have suffered some deaths there, or at least a permanent injury that forced a player into early retirement. Also looks like they're down to 2 linemen. What do you guys think, Nick?
Oh yeah, the team looks like it's lost 1 or 2 players here. Pretty nice. One thing that sometimes worries me when I play teams with catchers is that they tend to hog the SPP a little bit, and we've got some nicely developed catchers there. The block sidestep and the wrestle dauntless, really good players. But maybe the blitzers might fall behind a little bit if they aren't focused. But nice looking team.
Yeah, it looks like they've managed to pick up some levels from the Greenhorn. They're 2-2-1, and they have suffered 1 death and 6 casualties in those games. What do you think, Tomo?
Yeah, totally. The key thing you're looking at this is that he's missing one of his blitzers, and no human coach in the right mind is going to play like a human team without 4 blitzers. But overall, he's gotten some decent SPP on his stuff. Just to start some development there. I agree that catchers have a tendency to hog the SPP, so he really needs to try and get one more pass on his thrower and he's fine. But with his remaining blitzers, he really needs to try and hand off or do short passes to them to actually get some SPP and get them scoring touchdowns. And one other thing, Grim Matter, I don't recognize your name, so I believe it's your first season in the BigO, so welcome to you.
Indeed, welcome along, and hopefully you have a great season and enjoy your stay. Let's have a look how they went last week. They were playing the Necro team, Easy Big Easy Necro. Looks like they had a 2-all draw, and the catcher picked up the MVP. Yeah, it looks like a fairly decent outing. A fair bit of SPP for both teams. Really nice to pick up the catcher MVP to get him over to that 3rd level. But yeah, it looks like it was a pretty average day out in the field. I imagine both coaches are pretty happy with that result, to be honest, all those SPP points.
I just noticed when I'm looking at the recap that Nobody Loves the Monkeys only had the ball for a little while, and so they obviously managed to they had 12% ball possession, and they scored 2 touchdowns. So it obviously means they're scoring quick or getting some quick turnovers and scoring. Obviously an aggressive style of play.
Yeah. He must have managed to turn over the ball for that 2nd touchdown, because he's only got 56 yards of running and 16 yards of passing. Unfortunately, I don't think anybody was able to stream this game or catch this game. I didn't catch it myself.
No, I didn't see the game either.
It's hard to catch games when you don't tell us when they are, guys.
Yep. Sing out on the Discord at Sports Reporters, and if anybody's around and available, they will likely jump on and stream the game so people can watch, and you guys can watch it back afterwards and review your own game, and everybody benefits then.
Yeah, I've got it on good authority as well that the admins have got this sneaky bot that kind of trolls through the Reddit post, and it kind of like any team that has the match schedule turns blue, so they can see exactly who's scheduling games and who isn't. So make sure you get on there and actually schedule your games, so that you can bet that the admins are going to be kind of pointing their fingers at you eventually.
Well, you learn something new every day. That's some interesting news for myself, and I have posted on the Reddit today and organised my own game in Div4A with my opponent for Saturday morning, so I'm in the good books.
I'm feeling a bit of pressure to schedule my buy match now that there's a bot watching me or something.
Okay, next team. I'll have to step out of this one because it is myself. Nick, over to you.
I love that there's two Nurgle teams in the Div, because I have a special spot in my heart for Nurgle. It's one of the teams I've played a reasonable amount. Even people find them a bit annoying to play against sometimes. But if we look at the Nurgtown Crooners, some pretty decent development with 2 block on the Warriors there, which just makes them infinitely better players. Really, having that block can actually reliably get in a bit of a brawl. The plus move and the plus agi on the Pesticles make them nice. Which one did you get first, Synergy? By the way, the agi or the move?
I rolled them both in the same game.
Oh, okay, cool. Because some coaches like to have one. Only take one Pestigore with stat ups and have them be the ball carrier, and then the rest they just kind of do normals to kind of keep the TV down. It's Nurgle, but I mean they're both. It's great. Yeah, I don't know. What were your thoughts on?
Yeah, so I found it hard to pass up the plus movement. I don't like to something about a gift horse and Nuffle. I decided that the extra movement he'll more than likely turn into a frenzy piece, or at least wrestle tackle or something like that, and he'll be my backline safety. We'll see what happens moving forward, but in some previous teams, Nurgle teams that I've had, I found that plus movement to be really fantastic. You stand him in the middle of the back line and pretty much you've got a strength 4 hit blitz on anybody that comes trying to rush through. So I just decided to roll with it, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, for sure. It's really cool having the plus stats on your Pestigores. They love all of them, plus strength, movement, edgy. It's not like, they really appreciate any of the stats or any skills as well. Tomo, any thoughts on the team?
Oh yeah, some good solid development there. I feel like stats you always want to grab them early because you grab them at any time and they just make your team better. But there's a problem with grabbing them early is that you're kind of still missing some of the core skills and stuff for them. Looking at the record though, you're yet to pick up a win. With 3 draws and 2 losses, but this still looks like a good building base. Like season 1 for Nurgle's meant to be about just getting the SPP. You don't expect to win the league in your first season as Nurgle. So I think you're doing really good on this so far. Sorry, I was a million miles away when you were talking about the pestigores there. Did you just mention what role you were going to be using the Agi4 guy for?
Agi4 guy will begin with picking up the ball and being my ball carrier, but we'll see what they roll and make my decisions as they go. But do you have a suggestion?
Yeah, I quite like the kind of like a ball sacking route with him. I mean, you got kind of easy access to extra legs, and then leap, and with horns, like normal strength 3 ball carrier, isn't really going to be able to stand up to that. That's if I rolled an early agi, kind of like that's how I would look to be building something like a Pestigore or a Beastman. But I know it's really tempting just to give him 2 heads and then dodge 3 tackles once for days. So I was just curious.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Now that you mention it, the fact that he does have those mutation access and Agi4, I think either way, both of them are going to pick up block as their next skills. Maybe one of them wrestle. We'll see what happens. Guess it depends on the Noble Warriors if I can get them up to some more block as well. We'll have a look at the game, my last game versus Morka, where I picked up Mr. Gene Kelly, the number 5 rodder there, and I also managed to get enough gold in that game to get my 3rd team reroll, which was fantastic. Okay, let's go over to that game. School of Dance versus Nergtown Crooners. School of Dance have already played their 2nd game. If you were tuning into my channel earlier, you would have caught to that. But in the game versus myself, I managed to hold Morka to a 1-1 draw, which I was quite pleased with. And I picked up the MVP on Scabby Road to get the 2nd Pesties level there, which I was very happy with. And Morka got his MVP on Michael Jackson. I'll flick over to the stats and see if you've got any thoughts on the game, Nick and Tomo.
Obviously, props to you to holding Wood Elves to 1 touchdown, especially with Morka. It can be a bit of a force to be reckoned with sometimes. I guess that the one reroll start can be a bit punishing sometimes, especially when you're forced to throw some extra dice with the foul appearance here and the tentacles there and stuff like that. But looks like a solid game, like all round. Just each team wasn't quite able to push you that 2nd touchdown.
Yeah, he's done really well to kind of hold Morka to just the 1 touchdown though. Like, for anyone that hasn't played against Morka, he's always really aggressive with his basing, particularly with his dodge guys, and kind of like the more dodge and the more block he's going to get, like the more you're going to see him do this. And it forces you to kind of like roll dice, or he's going to get a position to take the ball off you. So it's really, really easy for you just to have kind of like 1 bad roll, and then all of a sudden Morka's scored. So kind of like denying him kind of like any kind of turnover score and holding him to like 1-1 with rookie Nurgle without much tackle, and keeping in mind Morka's got all 4 catches on his team, I believe.
Yeah, that's correct.
So it's like 4 dodge there. I think that's a really good result.
Yeah, I did get a bit lucky with the floor taking death on School of the Dance, and also causing a few casualties for him, so that certainly helped me hold him to the 1 touchdown. He did have to roll a 5+ pickup and dodge to get that touchdown, so it was a bit of a kick in the guts, but I'm still pretty happy with the draw.
It's just Wood Elves doing Wood Elf things, really, isn't it?
Yeah. That's right, rolling 6s on pickups.
Mm.
Okay, let's jump out of that one and head over to Yabby. Yabby's Trumps Chumps. I cast Yabby's game, so I know a little bit about his team. and also being another Nurgle team, I can comment on how he went as well. So he did quite well during the Greenhorn and picked up more SPP than myself, but it was a little bit more spread. He went for the 3 reroll build, and I believe he had to pick up a Noble Warrior after his first or second game. He's still only got the 1 Pesty though. I think that's where I've sort of gotten a bit lucky now after my first game with Morker and getting enough cash. So Yabby's Trump's chumps. He's big beast of Nurgle, Donald J. Trump. He certainly put some work in on his game last week and probably deserved the MVP, but he's sitting on 5 SPP now. What do you think about this team, guys?
He's got a lot of really nice SPP on his Warriors so far. I need to shame you for not rolling this level up yet, Yabby, just because it's tradition. And I hope that all the new recappers we've got get on board on shaming people that do that. I think it's interesting to see that Yabby's actually rerolled into Nurgle though. Yabby was dubbed the Division 2 Orc War Boss by a few of the Division 1 Orc coaches last season. He was charged with the mission of stopping all the claw from reaching Div 1. And of course, with Liam moving up there and Findico moving up there, kind of through no fault of his own, because pretty much all of last year's Division 2 is now in Division 1. Some would suggest he's failed in the mission of stopping the claw from getting to Div 1. But, instead he's kind of chosen to kind of jump down and join the mass claw brigade that's going to be storming the BigO. So I'm really excited, again, Nurgle are a team that kind of develop over time, so kind of in 2 seasons, it'll be really good to see, just how far this team's going to come.
The one thing that I really like about this team over yours, Synergy, is the dirty player rudder. You need one, I reckon. Get some rudder levels.
Oh yeah, I completely agree on that one.
Yeah, the fouling can be. It can be real. Well, Nurgle really need the removals, and no one's good at removing until they've got 4 level ups. When they got the block, their block, they get the mighty blow, they get the claw. It's a bit long away, but the dirty player can start kicking teeth in as a level 2. So that's nice, and I'm keen to see the Nurgle mirror when that happens. Do you know when that is?
It's a few weeks away yet, I believe.
A few weeks. Oh, that'd be interesting. One thing I did catch a little bit of this game, and I thought he played really well. Kind of turned the game into a bit of a brawl against Necro, which they can struggle a little bit with having less strength. Positioning his Beast of Nurgle on lots of players. So I thought it well-deserved win.
Yeah, on that little segue, we'll take a look at the match he played last week versus Sir Robin's second-hand band, the Necromantic team. He managed to pull out a 1-0 win, and Donald J. Trump picked up the MVP. I was casting that one, and it was a big old brawl in the centre of the field for about 70% of the game.
Which is it's really punish like the Necro coach played well, but when you get stuck in a brawl against tentacles and foul appearance, it's a bit hard to disengage, and with a higher strength and Necro not having as much block, I think it's gonna odds are it's gonna tilt towards the Nurgle there.
Yeah, props to Warhammer Frog for actually taking 62 blocks, my bad. Props to Trumps there. He still managed to get 44 blocks into Yabby's team, even being so sort of outstrengthed in that little brawl. He he did some pretty crazy uphill dicing with his werewolves. He was quite a few players down at some point there, I seem to remember. And both coaches almost managed to get away with it. It was swinging backwards and forwards. Yes, it was a brawl, but it was always very close to either side.
The ball was on the ground for most of it, wasn't it? Hey?
It was.
Yeah.
It was certainly fun to cast, and Yabby managed to pull away. He could have gone 2-0, I think. There was a point there that he almost managed to get his pesty through and pick up it with a couple of extra scoring threats. But as is typical with Nurgle, when you throw those 2 die blocks and you get both downs, you often don't have block yourself, and your players hit the dirt. It was a great game, and it was covered. So I think Yabby watched it back himself, and he's also tuning in right now and has let us know that his warrior has rolled doubles.
Well, that's a bit interesting. I'm assuming the Nurgle coach at heart still ignores all doubles and takes all the good singles you get. But I mean, dodge is a possibility, but you do like the block on the team, I guess.
Yeah, it has to be block out guard, really, doesn't it?
It does. It really does, yeah. Like, block guard, Mighty Bow, claw, and then maybe you consider taking a double.
But it's a double. You need to take leader or dodge. Or something. Says Tomo when he'd been playing Blood Bowl for a month.
I mean, yeah, it's yeah. Oh, I said just Monkey Chucks in chat saying took dodge on a Nurgle skill first once. Worst thing ever did. Yeah, and they just the singles are so good with general strength mutation access on a strength 4 piece. Like, it's hard, and it's so hard to justify taking a double when there's more TV for less effectiveness.
Yeah, I have taken dodge myself on Nova Warriors and have seen it work several times, as in not going down to the ground, not actually dodging out. And Blodge on strength 4 is fantastic. Should he get that second level? But you do need those hits early on, and I suspect that Yabby will get block. I also noticed he's got 120k in the bank.
I think he was saying he's going to get pesty number 2 in chat.
Okay.
Good call, I reckon. Need that movement.
Yeah, it's really painful. In my Greenhorn games, my pesty got knocked out early in 3 games, I think, and didn't come back for its second half. And that's half the reason why I wasn't able to eke out a win in the Greenhorn, even versus Halflings in game 1.
Yeah, you can't really ever trust in Rottable too much because they're a little bit slow. Yeah. The speed and no skills. Someone's going to stop you, aren't they?
Yeah. They're better than zombies, but you can't trust them. I suspect Cody Walsh will get fired, and Yabby will be picking up a couple fresh rodders. I'm sure he'll be hoping to get some kills and some free rodders, like I managed to do against Morka.
I'm going to say that, Yabby Singh is debating buying a rodder for a bench, but you don't buy rodders, do you? You kill people. That's how you get them, isn't it? Or am I doing this wrong?
The true Nurgle way. Never buy rodders, just have a... Actually, I've been very lucky in my clan matches. I'm playing a Nurgle team, and I've just been picking up rodders left and right from some lucky calves. And it's a huge swing in early development, isn't it? If you pick up the rodders and then you've got a bit of a bench and then you're fouling more. which means you get more rodders.
It really is fantastic, and I'm actually really looking forward to my game this week because I've got that bench and the Agi 4 to play with. And of course, Team Killer Tomo coming in there just saying, just kill people. It's just the way of the game. Anyway, over to the next team, Leaping Lizards, which we will let the Team Killer cover first, shall we?
Awesome. Okay, so this is a Lizardman team that's being coached by Serious Sam. Okay, I get it. Got it eventually. Yeah, I believe that's the first time I've seen your name as well. So welcome to the BigO. I hope you have a good time here. He's gone for the kind of standard kind of build. Well, there's only really one build on Lizards, isn't there? There's your 6 Saurus, you get your Croxicore, and you get a bunch of Skinks. But he's had some good starts on his level ups actually. With the 3 block across the 3 Saurus there, it's really good. You can kind of fall into the trap of just kind of like bombing a lot of SPP on Skinks and just getting like nothing agi skills that really don't do very much for you. He's actually managed to get the SPP where he needs it to. He's got 3 rerolls, he's got 1 apothecary, and he has a record of... Is that showing up right for me? 032? Is that the same as you?
Looks like it. 032.
So yeah. Overall, that's a great base to build from. You just need to keep going like that. You've got 2 Saurus on 5 SPP. If you were Mira Skadu, you'd be actually trying to throw a pass with those guys because Mira's a madman, but it always seems to work for him. So
having the 3 skillless or rookie Saurus is only 1 casualty or 1 mad pass away from leveling is pretty fantastic.
This is for sure one of the better amounts of development on a team, especially because Saurus warriors can be so hard to level sometimes.
Yeah, he's done really well for that amount of SPP on his Sauruses after only 5 games. And I've noticed he's a level 4 coach, so he may be new to at least Blood Bowl 2. So hopefully he's enjoying his time here so far. I don't think anybody, I don't know, I'm going to assume that nobody actually caught the game between Leaping Lizards and My Hopes and Dreams last week.
No, I didn't see it. Tomo?
Nope, I missed that one too.
I think My Hopes and Dreams, which we'll be covering soon, is another new member to the REBBL, so welcome. Looks like they managed to push a draw on each other, and Leaping Lizards picked up the MVP on the Saurus, which pushed him up to 12, so that's why he managed to pick up block. And just a lineman for the Dark Elf team.
Yeah, just looking at the stats, looks reasonably well played by both teams. The Lizard coach, the Elf coach didn't let up too many blocks with 34, but obviously it's kind of they're both kind of middling numbers, like 18 blocks for Elves against Lizards and 34 blocks for Lizards against Elves. It's kind of like what you'd expect. More so, like it's not great. Like it wasn't like the Elf coach let him get battered around too much, and it wasn't like the Lizard coach let Elves escape either. And with about the same amount of like ball possession and one touchdown each, looks like it was just a close game.
Yeah, it looks like the ball spent a third of the time in each of the coaches' hands and a third of the time on the floor. They must have been bashing the ball out of each other's hands and managed to hold each other to just scoring 1 touchdown. Looks like the Dark Elf coach is in chat and saying that the Leaping Lizards coach actually streamed a game, so the VOD should be available somewhere.
Oh, nice, nice.
Interesting stadium name there, GTX 1080 Ti. Ah, I understand. We'll get to that naming convention once we get to the Dark Elves coach. To Dark Elves team, I should say. Any thoughts on the game, Tomo?
No, not really. It's hard to say, how it's gone, without it. The Saurus jumping from below 6 SPP to 12 SPP is pretty huge for him there. And equally as huge for the Dark Elves is the MVP there, because that's just one vanity pass away from either block or dodge, depending on how you want to roll with your elves. 18 blocks of 34 blocks, 4 KOs each. The Lizards managed to inflict 3 injuries, so you could suggest that they had a bit of time with the hitting more there, and just the quality of their blocks was a little bit better.
Yeah, I'll say it's fairly even. It's probably a nice game for both of them, really, considering they didn't take. I think they took any permanent injuries, did they?
There might be the Elves. I think there might be a niggle on one of the blitzers actually, which is a little bit unfortunate. Or maybe it's just a mismixed game.
Well, we'll have a look at that team. That's their last team, so Rax Reaper will have to hang around to the end to see his team get covered. Next up is another Dark Elf team, though, so it'll be interesting to see. Another pending level there. Nick, what do you think of this team?
Oh, this is what makes Dark Elves good, isn't it? After this. They got 2 levels, and after that they'll have 1, 2, 3, 4 blodge pieces. And after their first game of the season, I know there's been Greenhorn Cup games and stuff, but wow, 5 blodge. That can be scary for any team to be facing.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to facing this team.
Yeah. Especially because in the league, there's not too many teams rushing at tackle. With the 2 Nurgle teams, there's Necro teams which are probably looking for a little more blodge first as well. So this is a really good start to the season, development-wise. Having these skill sets just might end up with a couple 1 games, won't it?
Yeah, it looks like he's already had 3 wins and 2 draws, so Pethor has been around before, Tomo?
I don't think so. Let me check my list. It's not a name that jumps immediately out to me anyway.
Yeah. He's a level 20 coach, so he's certainly got some hours under his belt. And obviously with 3 wins out of his 5 games, he's doing well. And his team's healthy. He's got his 4 blitzers. He's got his 1 witch elf. I imagine he probably didn't start with the witch elf.
Well, he definitely didn't start with everything he's got here.
Yeah.
But props to him, building a pretty solid team.
I imagine he'll be banking that 70k and picking up the next witch elf next, or will he pick up a bench before that?
I prefer the reroll.
Which or next reroll? Which or next reroll? I mean, I don't. Depends if you play pretty conservatively. Took's probably fine with all that blodge. But if you want to play a bit more aggressively with it all, maybe you want 3rd. But then the next witches, you want to get that underway as well. So tough calls a bit, but a really solid start.
It is a bit of a tough call though, isn't it? But like you say, he'll have 4 blodge under his belt. I assume he's going to pick block and dodge. So maybe he doesn't need the 2 team rerolls yet. I guess he'll decide how his next game goes.
For sure.
See what happens. I mean, he might lose a witch elf. Who knows? It's Blood Bowl.
Mm.
Let's have a look how he went in the first game of last week. Ooh, Tomo, did you see this result?
I'm looking at it now. That's a pretty convincing victory, honestly. You're going 4-0 against the Blessed Ratman. Obviously, I don't know much about the Blessed Ratman, but you know something must have happened, right? And looking at it, yeah, when the Skaven team gives you 54 blocks, even if you're playing a team without Mighty Blow, you're going to be able to hurt them. And hurt them he did, inflicting 5 KOs and 3 injuries. And he made 152 yards running, and that's a long way. So yeah, you know,
because of the result, I didn't catch it live, but I was like 4-0. What happened? So I watched the first half of the replay, just kind of flicked through it a bit, and he did manage to catch the Rats into a bit of a brawl in the middle of the pitch, and some really nice positioning, getting lots of 2 dice blocks with a fair few stuns, and I think there was 1 early removal, and that kind of forced the Rat coach into throwing some 1 dice blocks with his line Rats, which had a little bit poor dice with, but I mean that happens when you throw 1 dice blocks. So he kind of just really controlled the game. Was close to getting a lot of serfs as well, so I think it's really well coached by the Dark Elf coach. There was a pitch invasion which actually slightly favoured him as well, which probably helped with his second touchdown. This pitch invasion can be a bit scary to recover from. I think like all but 3 Rats went down on the pitch invasion, which is a bit terrifying. But
yeah, like yourself,
it's just a really really solid play over the first half to get there, and I didn't watch the second half, but I assume more of the same. So I'm actually expecting quite a bit out of this
Dark Elf coach.
Dark Elf coach. Yeah.
Yeah, like you, I jumped quickly into the replay of this one because I actually have to play the Blessed Ratman this week. And unfortunately for him, he only got the MVP and not any other SPP this match, as opposed to our Dark Elf coach picked up a solid, was that 15-23?
Got 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, 23 SPP to the 5.
Wow. 23 SPP on a that's hard to argue against, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a bit of a feeding frenzy. It looked like the Ratman coach gave up quite a few blocks and AB7 breaks. So I think comfortably uncomfortable thoroughly outshone the Ratman coach and ran away with it. So his TD difference is probably going to be uncatchable for anybody else in the div.
Well, yeah, it's definitely a good head start on it, and with that sort of team, you're probably not being held scoreless too easily. So,
yeah. Okay, so I think with covering those first 5 teams, it's also covered the all of the matches from last week. So the last few teams will be a little bit quicker to go through, as we won't have to review the last matches. And the next coach is Dwarfbane and his Blessed Ratman, the opponent of said previous Dark Elves. Yeah, what have we got here, Nick?
Yeah, reasonably standard-ish Rat team. Only 1 level on throw with kick, which, I mean, kick's definitely very takeable, and some people say to put it on a thrower. The one thing which is maybe a bit controversial is having 2 throwers. I don't know if there's too many Rat coaches which would go with both. I'm not an expert Rat coach. I normally run without it all, but I can definitely see it. I can see the argument for a thrower with the sure hands and pass and kind of having some really good receiver threats, I guess, with your gutter runners. But the second one, I mean, maybe a little bit wasted SVP, but I mean, maybe he's looking to develop one really nicely, and if you have two there, maybe one rolls a cheeky setup or something.
Yeah, it looks like he might be trying to go for a sort of a passing rat team, maybe.
I'm not so sure. Like first of all, welcome to Dwarfbane. I've just gone through my list, and you're not on it before, so I'm assuming you're new to the BigO. So welcome to you as well. And I think that one thing you have to remember is that when you see teams with two throwers, is that a lot of the new Games Workshop teams that they're releasing are actually coming with two throwers as well. So if there's someone that's played quite a bit of like tabletop Blood Bowl, particularly with the the new versions of the teams coming out, and then they're looking to join a league online, they're going to fall back to what they know. And for I imagine for all the new kind of whether it's Skaven or Human or even Orc teams come with two throwers, as if one isn't debated enough. Like familiarity is just such a big thing, and if he's grown used to having that thing, even though some people might not approve of it, or might not think that it's as TV efficient, if it's how he plays, he's used to it, then I'm looking forward to see what he can do with it.
Oh, definitely. And having two sure hands on the team actually can be really handy sometimes. Being able to, knock the ball loose and make you'll definitely either have a gutter runner or a thrower there to, grab it out and sneak it away. So I'm always keen to see some rat ball.
Looks like he's suffered a dead rat already in his first 4 games. It looks like he came in on week 2 of the Greenhorn, as he's only got 4 games under his belt. He hasn't managed to get himself a win yet, but 1 draw and 3 losses.
I think there's probably a few teams looking to sneak up their first win in this div.
Yeah, just a couple.
Yeah. So I think it's it'll definitely be a bit of a. I reckon everyone's going to be really pumped to knock their first one on the board.
Yeah. It looks like he's going for a bit of a religious theme here with cardinals, archbishops, priests, deacons, and maybe he forgot. I don't know. Finch the thrower. Findleblade.
I think Finch is a. I think Finch is a default name. Not sure. Unsure. Anyhow, I like. It's cool that there's a bit of a name and theme in there. That's nice.
Yeah, I skipped over the other themes, and I know there are a couple of good ones. Sorry about that, guys. The next team on the list is actually a dwarf coach that had to pass up his little position here in Div4A. I can't say I'm too upset about that. I don't really like playing against dwarves. So anyway, on to the Necromantic team, coached by Warhammer Frog. I know that Tomo knows Warhammer Frog from past seasons, so over to you, good sir.
Yeah, Warhammer Frog, BigO veteran, of course. He's chosen to come this time with a Necromantic team with 2 rerolls. He's just got the 1 fan factor, which I might suggest a little bit of a troubling off season a little bit. Although he's played he's got the 1 draw and the 2 losses, so he's played 3 games. That's not a great start, but it's all these developing teams. All these teams at the start, they may have a bit iffy records. There's still a long season to go. So, yeah. Looking at the team, King Arthur ? I expect great things from players that are called King Arthur in the BigO. Whether it's Arthur Pendragon that was on Reese's team, or the second Arthur Pendragon on Reese's team. I'm pretty sure there was another Arthur Pendragon on another team at some point. Just all of them all seem to be turning into complete stat freaks. And this is a a necromantic team in REBBL. It's either due to be getting mighty blow early or becoming a complete stat freak, because that's just the way they are. So there's that, and obviously looking through the names, they're all kind of, the romanticized Holy Grail Crusaders and Arthurian legend. So, yeah, it's a really good team. There's not really that much else to talk about. He does have 5 SPP on a bunch of guys. I don't know if he's going to be able to, aim to hit with these guys specifically or even try some vanity passes. Of course, zombies with IG2, it's not the easiest thing in the world, but it's Necromantic, and Necromantic always seem to be solid in REBBL at the moment.
I just noticed on King Arthur ? He has in fact already got a kill and 4 injuries.
Of course, yeah.
I think is that Mike Flynn down the bottom there from Morgan? Oh, Mike Flynn? Is that probably the zombie at the bottom? Is that joined from King Arthur's kill?
I think you're right.
Yeah. I think there's been a couple rotters and zombies all swapping teams and stuff.
Yeah. We'll have to review that next week when we do the recap of week 2, because this Warhammer Frog and Morka have already played their week 2 game, so we'll just ignore Mike Flynn down the bottom there. But yeah, it looks like he's had a bit of a tough start, but he only got 1 game in the Greenhorn, so he's a little bit behind the rest of us in 4A. But we all know that Warhammer Frog is an old hat in this game, so I'm sure he'll do fine. He's in the same sort of state as Morka, and he's now met Morka and played him, so he will tear into the rest of us, and I know I am afraid of the Claw, as I'm sure he's going to be targeting my warriors and my lovely Sergeant Papa, the Beast of Nurgle.
Yeah, well, he's got block on one of his on King Arthur, so that's already a pretty dangerous werewolf, hey?
Yeah.
It's only going to get scary.
Yeah, so School of Dance by Morka, as we just happened to mention him. Nick, I'll let you introduce Morka's new Wood Elf team.
Well, I guess having White Line bow out of Div 1 after a bit of a troubling off-season, Morka's brought the Wood Elves back to cause some terror. And I mean, Wood Elves are scary. Especially at lowish team value. So I'd expect. I'm still expecting Morka to do quite well in this division. Looking at the team, it's got Strip Ball, Strip Ball and a War Dancer, and that already makes it, the most terrifying thing that ever existed. And then a plus Agi Catcher, probably very, very hard to stop him scoring.
Yep.
He has lost a couple players over the last couple weeks, because as all good Wood Elf teams, they should not have a bench and just have line elves die every second week. But a bit unfortunate for him in that, but looks like it's been a solid team.
Yeah, it's interesting. Just looking at his history there with the 2 draws, 1 which happened this week, so we'll talk about that next week. It shows only 1 death sustained, so that must mean, I know he's had more than 1 death, because there was 2 in my game, so it must mean that deaths to the floor, and maybe...
Yeah, probably didn't. Maybe the program didn't pick up the floor death thing. It wasn't from a block. I just noticed he's still seeing the 1 reroll as well, which probably he's keen for this after this next game to be able to pick up his next one, because Morka's more aggressive style lets him spend that first reroll without going, oh, it's my last one.
Yeah, he managed to get the cheering fans versus me, and played with 2 rerolls, which I was a little bit disappointed about. But he's also going to have to, is he going to play with loners until he gets maybe at least 2 team rerolls, maybe 3. Or will he buy lineman? What do you think, Tomo, as an elf coach yourself?
You play with Lonestar, you can afford a thrower. Then you play a game with the thrower, score 2 touchdowns on the thrower, and get leader. That's the kind of the general thing there, and that'll get your rerolls and things.
Yeah, it's
So hopefully by the time
point.
you've won a game with the thrower, you're kind of looking towards getting 100k for your next reroll as well.
Yeah, cool. I think we're all looking forward to seeing how Morka goes this season. I think the recappers and streamer stuff have all put him towards the top of this division. I'm pretty happy getting him out of the way early. I hope I don't have to play him in the little round robin thing we've got at the end, because he'll be even harder to hold to a draw at the end of the season. Yeah, I think anybody that has to face Morka is not looking forward to it. And last team on this page is a Necromantic team with the same little frog as me. Easy, big, easy Necro. Tomo, do you want to review this Necro team?
Yeah, sure, I can do that. You keep giving me all the Necro teams. I'm looking through again. It's another name that I don't really recognize. And with a name that's kind of spelt like that, I think I would recognize it if it'd been around before. So critical hit. Welcome to them, the BigO. Again, just like everyone else, hope you have a successful, fun time here. Yeah, so he's gone for 3 rerolls at the start, and only the 1 werewolf, which is fine. You can kind of look to build towards your next werewolf there. He's only 60k gold off of it. Apart from that, everything's kind of a bit standard. You've got your 2 whites, your 2 flesh golems, 1 werewolf, 1 ghoul, bunch of zombies. People can argue for the ghoul, without the ghoul. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's quite different to the other Necromantic team, isn't it? It looked like Warhammer Frog opting to not go for the ghouls early. I assume that they'll pick him up later, and vice versa with the second werewolf.
Yeah, across the REBBL as a whole, though, there's been a whole variety of Necromantic starts this season. I mean, even aside from the 2 that we've seen, over in G-Man, there was an interesting start where a coach chose to drop a flesh golem to start with 2 werewolves, which was debated a little bit. But again, it just shows that what a strong kind of all-round team Necromantic can be. That they have so many available different starts and things to build into.
Yeah, just such an interesting range of positionals, and that they've made it that you can't get all of them because of the too much TV. Can't get all the ghouls, all the whites, all the fleshies, and all the wolves. There's not too many other teams which make you cut as much as a Necro start, so it's always interesting to see, especially with those expensive rerolls as well. The 140,
yeah, they are very expensive, aren't they?
Yeah, so you definitely can't get everything, but you definitely want everything, and you want all your positionals leveled, and yeah. So there's lots of things you want as a Necro coach. So it's gets nice to see at least the werewolf's got block now. So we've got another zombie with block, which some people might argue for dirty player, but I can see getting the early block. It's pretty good as well when block is in very high regard at the very beginning of development of teams.
I do like the name on the werewolf too.
This is a World of Warcraft themed team, isn't it?
Yeah, I can see some World of Warcraft / Hearthstone themes across.
Yeah, there's a few names that I recognise as well.
Yeah. So, and I think Easy Big Easy Necro is a bit of a Hearthstone meme.
It is
a bit as well. So, cool to see we've got another solid Necro team coming through here.
Yeah, so this is another team that was rolled into for a as TV1000. So hopefully he gets a bit of early development to catch up to the rest of the division. He's only obviously got the one draw there that he had versus the human team from last week, the 2-2. So I mean, putting it down to the fact that he's only had one game, his team's looking pretty good.
Yeah, well, getting both touchdowns on the werewolf, very smart decision, as it needs the level, hey? The most out of everyone, nearly.
Yeah.
Apart from flesh golems, which maybe are a bit hard to score on.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he goes this week. I'm sure he'll be doing all right. I see he's a level 2 coach for BB2, but I'm sure he's got some other experience under his belt, I think.
Seems like a solidly built team.
Yeah, I agree. And obviously versus the humans who had a bit more a bit more development and holding them to a 2-2 draw. I think he did pretty well as a TV1000 team.
Done very well.
And lucky last, my hopes and dreams, the second Dark Elf team of Div4A has been hanging around asking for this recap. Patiently waiting in the wings, so I assume you're still there, Rax Reaper. Looks like he went, I believe Rax Reaper or DSM2K1 was the coach that replaced the dwarf that bowed out. So welcome latecomer to the BigO. Hopefully you enjoy your stay and stay for a long time and a good time. My hopes and dreams, it looks like he went for the 4 blitzer, 1 runner, 2 reroll build, opting to leave the Witch Elves out because they're so expensive early on. What do you think of this start, Nick?
Yeah, definitely really solid. I mean, this is probably one of the 2 stock standard Dark Elf starts. You either go with, most go with the 2 rerolls. You get 4 blitzers and a thrower, or you get 3 blitzers and a Witch Elf. The Witch Elf sometimes being a bit more reroll dependent with Frenzy and no block. So this is a little safer. But yeah, a bit unfortunate he's got his one of the blitzers niggled there, which could be a bit of a liability. But I mean, looks like a solid team, and in a couple games, it could be really nice and scary. Like a level here or there, gets a lot of block and dodge on the team, and it could be just as scary as that other Dark Elf team we saw in the Div.
Yeah, you've played a fair bit of Dark Elves, haven't you, Tomo?
Yeah, I got Dark Elves to Division 1 once upon a time. But this is definitely the start where you're favouring a little bit more consistency. If it's CC, REBBL's a bit different because you're kind of you're building over a longer period of time. So if it was CCL or something, you're aiming to kind of get 2 scores with the runner and then all of a sudden take leader, and then you've got your 3 team rerolls and you can start building towards your Witch Elf. So that's kind of consistency, but you are sacrificing just a little bit of team power because, a Witch Elf is another kind of piece that's, only 1 skill away from Blodge or Rodge. And as well, the surfing threat can really help you to win some of your early games. And, considering he's kind of, he's joined the league late, as you mentioned, maybe... Yeah, I could see arguments for both team setups. I think, the extra team power could have done him good with the Witch Elf against some of the teams that, have already got a little bit of development. But, Dark Elves are just such a good kind of, team to play. They're super consistent. They can do so much, and they're elves. You got IG4 all over the place. You think that there's a lot of really good kind of like dark elf coaches and dark elf teams in BigO at the moment, and it makes me proud that I'm still a dark elf coach at heart. So hopefully they all do well.
Yeah, it looks like he's gone for a bit of a fun naming scheme there with My Hopes and Dreams, no triple attack downs, dodge when running 16 gigs of TDR4. I think you should at least aim for 32, mate. Ryzen 5, etc., etc., etc. Normal
Win is my favourite one.
Yeah, these are all my hopes and dreams when I'm playing as well. Please throw the ball. Okay, please catch it. Yeah, okay, now dodge, please.
Dodge, please. Yeah.
I noticed that his stadium was called 1080 Ti as well, so that's a pretty decent hope and dream, to be honest.
Definitely.
So yeah, he's obviously coming from behind once again, only having the one game under his belt, whereas most of the other teams, 60% of them have got 4 games under their belt, or 3 or 4 games. So hopefully he can get a win under his belt this week.
Yeah, well, very solid putting out the tie against that Lizard team with the slightly less developed team. Pretty solid.
Yeah, he must have done quite well that game. Okay, talking about this week, let's have a quick look at the schedule and talk about our predictions for the tips, shall we?
For sure.
Okay, let's try and ignore the bottom game being played already. First up, we have.
I predicted 2-2 tie for that one, just in advance. Yeah.
I think we all did, right, Tomo?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Game 1 this week is Leaping Lizards versus the easy Necro. So, whoops. What do we think is going to go down there? The Necro versus the Lizards. Both of those teams, I think, are sitting on the one draw. Leaping Lizards are on at 1200 TV, and the big Necro are on 1090.
This is one of the arguments for dirty player over block, is that 100 TV down, that's a bribe, and could just go stepping on some lizards this week. But I mean, still a pretty reasonably solid matchup both ways. If the lizardmen can turn into a bit of a brawl with their high strength, probably got it. Or if the wolf goes off tap and just goes around.
Yeah.
If he can remove a Saurus, I mean, that's crazy. Or if he can get behind and get to the skinks with block as well, he's a really good sacker. So I think it's really about how, from the Necro point of view, how you can kind of control the pitch, try to put pressure on the skinks so that the Saurus get out of position. See if you can get a removal somewhere. I think the removal is really important for the Necro, and the Lizards, you just want to deny blocks. Make it a big fight. You've got similar amounts of block. You have some mighty blow on the Crocs. Start bashing away. I probably would favour the Lizards slightly.
Yeah, I think
the Lizards are so strong early.
Yeah, I think
not
also
really
with the three block already. Like you say though, the Necro's werewolf has blocks, so he'll be putting in a shift, and if he gets some removals, it'll even things up. But I have a feeling that Serious Sam and his Leaping Lizards might just get up on this one. What do you think, Tomo?
Yeah, I completely agree with everything Nick's just said. It's like he's stealing my notes or something. Unless the werewolf pops off, I think it's going to be a fairly straightforward win for the Lizards.
Yeah, and it's nothing against critical hit. It's just that the Lizards have got a few extra games of What's the word I'm looking for? Development.
Development.
That's
Yeah,
it.
it's a rough matchup as well before the wolf gets Mighty Blow. Like lizards are hard to beat until you either get Claw Mighty Blow or you have a Agi 5 strip ball war dancer. Like it's it's a hard game. So
Yeah, so it looks like we're backing the Leaping Lizards to beat the Necro team this week. Hopefully they've already posted on Reddit as to how they're getting along this week. Next game is Comfortably Uncomfortable versus Trump's Chumps. So both of these teams, it's a top of the table clash. Pethor versus Yabby. That Dark Elf team looking very healthy after that 4-0 win. And Yabby's not doing too badly either. This is going to be an interesting one. I know I struggle versus Dark Elves a bit as early Nurgle, not having any sort of way to counter the dodge, and as we took note, Pethor's already got more than likely 4 dodge.
yeah, potential 5 blodges. That's mental, isn't it? Potential.
It's almost like an Agi 4 Amazon team, isn't it?
Yeah, and well, I mean, we don't know those level ups though, so there could be some guard in there or Mighty Blow, which could even.
Yeah, that
it
could
doesn't
be
make that make
interesting.
it worse, does it?
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see those levels, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well,
And there'll be similar TVs after the. I think Trump's Chumps will be lower TV.
yeah, I think Trump.
They could get the way I see Trump's Chumps winning is the dirty player rather going off tap with a bribe.
Yeah, and it looks like he's going to get the bribe as well. He should be exactly 100.
It's a real rough matchup for early Nurgle with all that blodge.
Yeah, I totally agree.
As Yabby
win.
says in chat, very low percent chance of winning. And and obviously the Dark Elf coach has shown himself to be pretty confident with that first game. So it's not like you're playing against someone who's kind of trying to figure out Blood Bowl's working either. You know what I mean? That's probably what fingers crossed when you're hoping again. If you spun this in Champions Ladder, you're spinning your Nurgle team, you come across this Dark Elf team, you're like, oh, I hope this guy doesn't know how to play Blood Bowl. But obviously a rough matchup.
So
I would tip the Dark Elves here.
And
even though Yabby's a decent coach.
Tomo's saying the same, is he?
I'd agree with that. Yeah, I think again, like the word you keep hearing me say, especially when it comes to like the lower divisions, is consistency, and the teams that can play how they want to play, the quickest. And for me, the Dark Elf team just looks a little bit more consistent. I will say this though, because there is a little bit of a coach skill factor in there too. If the Dark Elf coach gets drawn into a fight a little bit, and then kind of ends up with a whole bunch of guys kind of based up around the Beast of Nurgle, that can be a little bit tricky for him to deal with. And if I was Yabby and looking to get something out of this game, I think that Beast of Nurgle positioning is going to be super critical. But overall, I can't really look past the Dark Elves when it comes to being who I think is going to win this.
Yeah, I have to agree. That's being said, as you rightly pointed out, if Donald Trump plays as well as he did in his last game, and the positioning and taking the hits and everything that he did to get that MVP, if he ties up 3 of those Dark Elves at least, and then gets a couple of Mighty Blow hits in and doesn't go too stupid, that'll be how Yabby wins, I think.
Nurgle win toss. Choose to receive. hopefully bash up some line elves and play up men for the whole game. I mean, it's the dream, but it's hard, definitely hard.
Yeah, I tend to go on defense versus quick scoring teams and hope to push them into a quick score, and then get the equalizer, and that's the ultimate 2-1 dream,
Dream, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you either do that or try to get some cows. It's rough, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty tough. And I guess versus AV8 as opposed to, say, like Morka's Elves, it's a little bit less likely to get those breaks and damage through early.
It's just even hard to force these Elves to score quick, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
they can just kind of dance around their half for 4 turns.
Yeah, they're not the quickest
move.
Elves either. The humans are, in fact, quicker than Dark Elves.
But with all that blodge, it's hard to lock down. But I mean, interesting match to see, top of the table. Obviously, 2 good coaches.
Yeah, I'm going to be paying close attention to that game and see how Yabi plays versus Dark Elves, so that I can learn from it and hopefully, get some secret skills. What am I looking for? I'm off on a tangent. Anyway,
Tips and tricks.
Tips and tricks. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, so I guess we're all leaning towards comfortably uncomfortable to win that one. The next game is my own, the Blessed Ratmen versus the Nergtown Crooners. Tomo, you can go first on this one, mate.
Oh God, you put me on the spot for this one. Again, like, this is the one game that I'm honestly not sure how it's gonna go, because I think it comes down to dice to a certain extent. Again, I keep talking about consistency, but at this point, neither team are consistent. You've got if the Skaven give up too many kind of blocks and get drawn into a wall, kind of like how they did last time, admittedly going from like your guys' description of the game, they can just keep bashing through the linemen, remove all the linemen, start hitting the positionals, and then the Skaven are gonna have a sad time. But at the same time, if the Skaven armor holds, or the gutter runners are positioned in such a way that you can't get to them, then again, their speed's going to shine through, and it becomes the Nurgle that have a very sad time. So I hate saying this. I just think it depends on how the dice roll that day, and I guess I'm going for a draw on this one because neither team's really got enough that convinces me they're the one that's going to win it.
Oh, yeah, it's real. It's a tough call, isn't it? But is the
He's gonna get a wizard, I think.
A wizard, so like it's gonna be hard for the Nurgle to score. And I think I might have to tip a draw as well, Tommy. Rats with wizard, like it's the team that benefits most from a wizard. I'd say we're close with Wood Elves, maybe. But that speed of these, the rats, if they get a good, they get the ball on the ground, easy enough for them to kind of dash through, pick it up. Nurgle's having a bit of a tough time with the ball handling, and even if they do get in a bit of a brawl, they got a bit of block, but not as much, so the dice can be a bit of a factor there. So I think I might tip a draw there as well. How's your confidence in yourself, Synergy?
Well, I'm pretty confident, to be honest. I've got that third re-roll now, and I really have been missing it. Like you say, those early blocks, both downs, etc., forcing me to chew them up. The bench means Gene Kelly will be jumping at the bit to get on as soon as one of the other rotters gets taken off for fouling a rat into the ground. I think that will be the only way I can hopefully break them down and hopefully don't cop a god fireball to my ball cage. I will definitely have to be particularly defensive on my drive. I've been caught by bloody gutter runners coming in from the down the sidelines and just pouncing on my ball before I get a chance to pick it up. I think the Agi5 will definitely help me there, and as long as I don't roll a 1 on the pickup. And then obviously Yellow Grub Marine will be able to use that extra movement to hopefully hit some gutter runners and get them off the field. So
I did just notice you got 3. You got your Beast and 2 Warriors, which are 2 SPP away from leveling.
Yep.
And Rats, definitely the best team to get Kaz against because they've got low armor and they don't have high agility, so they're not running away as often.
Yeah, I'm certainly hoping
hopefully
to
get some Kaz, set you up for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and he's got a bench, so he's got 12. So he'll certainly have some line fodder for me to hit. And depending if he learnt from putting everything on the line last game, we'll find out. But I've got to back myself. I'm sure I'm here first season Nurgle for some development, but I think I can smash these rats as long as I don't roll too many terrible dice.
I like the confidence.
And then we've got My Hopes and Dreams versus Nobody Loves the Monkeys. This is Dark Elves versus Humans. It's good to see some more human teams in the BigO. Don't think we've got too many.
No, not too many. Just checking out how much team value there'll be because they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rostered players with the 2
so there's an extra 100k.
loners. So they've got 100. Oh, they got 1150 versus
My Hopes and Dreams 910.
So we're down to Blitzer.
So they'll be at 980.
980. So that's a wizard in there. So that's a. I mean that can turn the game a little bit.
Yeah, everybody fears Elves with the wizard, right?
And it's just a bit tricky sometimes because these they have got a bit more strength with the ogre and the guard on one of the blitzers, and they got these star catchers because they've had a little bit more development. So it can be a little rough for the elves who are down a blitzer and are down behind a little bit in development. So they will be relying on the wizard a little bit, I reckon.
Yeah, the chat's made some interesting observations there that My Hopes and Dreams hasn't got his Apo yet, and does have the money for an Apo.
Oh yeah, yes, that's probably very reasonable, isn't it?
However, if he does that, he won't be able to afford a wizard.
No, it's an interesting call. Well, you value the safety of your team over the win, because obviously
he's already copped a niggle, so
yeah. So you don't want the team falling apart too much more than that. So the safety, especially when there's a big ogre with Mighty Blow, could cause some trouble.
What do you think, Tyler?
I hate this matchup as Dark Elves. I keep saying this, and people that have heard me on recaps will have heard me say it before, but in what other fantasy universe are humans quicker than elves? Like, seriously. Like, these human catches are just stupid. So he's not only has he got the speed on them, he's got, with the Blood Step, Raj, he's got a little bit of, kind of survivability there about him himself. And, with the guards and the big guy, I think it's an incredibly difficult matchup for the Dark Elves, so I would
Yeah.
have to tip the humans.
Yeah, like without those couple levels, it's definitely a bit hard. Yeah, it's really a dream wizard which puts the elves in the game, isn't it? Like it has to be good.
Yeah, if you want to win, you need the wizard, and you need to kind of make a play.
But I mean, maybe at this stage, I personally I'd definitely value the Apo into hopefully getting a little development on players, and maybe if you're looking at that finals run, just a good solid, like a solid tie into looking for some wins further on. I don't know. It's a tough one.
Don't forget that even if he kind of scores with a wizard, like these humans are capable of one turns too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, for sure.
It just feels bad, this matchup, but this TV just feels bad.
Yeah, humans have so many skills, and then they got the more strength, and then yeah, it's rough.
I think personally, I'm sitting on the fence on this one. I being that it looks like the Dark Elves are going to pick up a wizard over an Apo. I might be tipping a draw personally. What are you leaning towards, Tomo?
Yeah, I'm good with the humans.
I think I was a bit on the fence, but I think after Tomo's little spiel there, he's definitely convinced me to humans.
Yep. All right. So we've got so far before we get into the last game, we're going lizards. So leaping lizards. Comfortably
uncomfortable. Then it's a draw, and then nobody loves the monkeys.
No. 2 draws and a win for Nurgtag
All right.
Cronus.
Okay.
What do I have to abstain?
We can give you. We'll give. Well, I mean, we both went on the fence for a draw, and you went for a win, so it's leaning towards a win more than a loss, isn't it?
It is.
So we'll give that. We'll tip the Nurgtag Cronus.
And nobody loves.
I'm changing this, am I? Okay.
Tipping draws are a little passive, isn't it? Except for the last game with Sir Robin's second-hand ban with School of Dance, we definitely tipped the 2-2 tie.
Yeah, I cast that game earlier this evening. I think it probably should have gone Morka's way, but Warhammer Frog got some great luck in the second half and managed to pick it to get it back. So we'll talk about that next week, and hopefully I can still remember it.
Yeah, best of luck.
Yeah, so I think that wraps it up for the week. Have we got any final thoughts, Nick?
Just excited to see Comfortably Uncomfortable and Trump's Chumps face off. That'll be a
game of the week.
Match. Well, yeah, top of the table. See who's gonna take assert themselves at top if there's a win. Not tie. So that'll be interesting to see who's gunning for this playoff spot. I mean, it is a bit favoured towards the Dark Elves, but should be good. Also, while we were normally reasonably one-sided with each of these tips, it's definitely very interesting to matches to watch. I like the Lizard versus Necro dynamic because it's two teams trying to do two different things, which is fun. And then same with Rats versus Nurgle, and a little maybe not to much the same extent with the Humans and Dark Elves doing some reasonably similar game plan. I think this is definitely a really interesting week because there are a few mirror matches that do happen, and we've got none this week, which is fun.
Yeah, I was just flicking forward to find out when those mirror matches happen. Tomo, you got any closing comments?
Yeah, as the head sports reporter for the BigO, I just want to apologize to everyone that's taken so long to actually get this out. Squiggy, who was initially going to be the host of kind of, this block of the recap stuff, he's going through a lot of real life shit at the minute, and all our thoughts are with him and all the crap that he's having to deal with. On top of that, though, yeah, I think it's going to be a super exciting division, and I'm hoping that when Squiggy comes back, he's still going to be up. You see him on stream and everything every now and again. Everyone in REBBL knows Squiggy. Guys, do support him and the stuff that he does, because he's a great content creator. He's a great Blood Bowl coach. He's just a great guy. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Cool. As for me, all I could probably say is I'm looking forward to this week. The mirror matches don't start happening next week. There's the Dark Elf mirror match, and the week after that is the week 5 is the Noble mirror match. So it's coming. So thanks guys for tuning in. From me personally, just starting this streaming business, if you could hit that follow button for me, it'd be kind of cool. I'll play us out with that awesome video of Zord's REBBL hype video. And thanks for tuning in, and thank you Tomo and Nick for joining me.
Pleasure.
Yeah, been great.
Thanks guys, and see you next week, hopefully on Wednesday or Tuesday, depending how early everybody gets their games done. Thank you and good night.